Hey, you're the video. What? What video? I do not know what the hell you are talking about. If this a joke, get lost. I'm not in the mood for it. Oh, come on. Video. Changing your clothes in the bathroom. It has been doing the rounds on internet. Now, everybody is talking about it. Boy, you still got it, Grandma. Hi, I'm Eliza, and this is the story of how my mother-in-law, Linda, caught a bullet for me. This is the tale of our most recent family vacation. Those outings, elements of forced family fun that we didn't necessarily understand or appreciate at the time, are where you formed your cherished memories. But they also wound up serving as our tradition every few years to check in and reconnect, to mend those inevitable breaks in our extended differently lives. We were not very close by and large, but these trips provided an opportunity to fulfill those roles as siblings, build memories together with stronger family ties, and support a sense of unity. To be honest, my husband Joshua and I were not exactly thrilled. Visiting Joshua's mother, Linda, was never an especially joyful experience. She had a way of getting the drizzling mood to her side, and so was as good at family bonding, if there ever were such a thing. Guess what, everyone? We are heading off for our family trip soon. Her eyes shone with excitement, but Joshua and I exchanged looks which reflected the tangled bundle of nerves that had us all in their clutches. My mother-in-law has appeared to be hell-bent on continuing the tradition, whilst we had been quietly dropping hints how less and less keen we were. Oh, the tradition lives on. Clearly I am no stranger to ridicule or of being a victim, but when my voice is mocked by someone so close as the mother herself and with such accuracy, in return, and not even recalling one instance until suddenly reminded, well, Mom, whereas if I've ever doubted that your mom secretly. Christian J. butted in. We laughed at Joshua's remark, albeit with a sour taste of truth following it. What were once a joyful exercise in family outings had turned into some unholy trinity of entertainment, frustration, and smoldering resentment. So when we both sat to talk about what our future plans are, I just started blurting out my insecurities as Joshua. I was like, we should be excited for the trip, but you know, Linda, I just pray she will react differently this time, but it does leave me a tad wary. I know, Eliza. We've had our struggles with her, that's for sure, but maybe this will be the chance to make some memories. We are going to get into it with an open mind and try to make the most of this, all right. However, before we could set off on the biggest journey of our lives thus far, there was one very important job to be done, and that was finding the ideal place for us to stay. Separate housing from my mother-in-law was this mean to have more privacy, but also stop us killing each other. We were desperate to have a space of our own in which we could turn out the lights and be alone with ourselves, recharge all on our lonesome for either sleep or solitude while indulging one interest without society crowding us. To the sounds of our wailing wallets, hundreds gathered to burn in capitalistic fire as we highlighted multiple tabs on a spreadsheet and turned hours into days looking for that really perfect Airbnb. Our needs were simple, something that would connect us to the peace and serenity of this coastal property with stunning views across it, and something modern. At long last, and after all of that research, we found a gem: Sunset Serenity. Josh, I've got it. This is the perfect place for you and me to take kids when we go on our fanvac. It's named Sunset Haven, and it is stunning. These astonishing photos will make you never believe it. Show me. We put our heads together and read the listing on Airbnb. Yes, it was a little expensive, but so much of what I read seemed to pay for itself with its benefits. We were so intent on Sunset Haven, we made the booking happily, knowing this place would be it for a memorable family experience. For days he spoke of sandy castles and long, lingering over seafood meals before night gathered everyone under its dome. The day when we left finally came. The trunk was full of suitcases and beach paraphernalia. My mother-in-law, Linda stepped through the door with us and took a slow walkabout. Well, what a stunning place. Excellent choice. I know, right? This is where we chose after Joshua and I spent days looking for the ideal location. Yeah, you know what, dear? I'll just stay here then. This is just too sexy, she said. She was nothing if not entitled about it. Out of the blue, Linda made a statement that took Joshua and me by surprise. Mom, I don't understand. You have your own booking. Why steal ours? A man from Argentina, what about your own room? Well, sweetheart, this place is far more me. Look how luxurious it is. The other one you two can handle now. Hurry along. Linda, why we picked this Airbnb item type in need it. But Linda, we picked this Airbnb specifically because it suited us. This is where my family and I were really excited to stay. Mom, can we stick to our initial plans? This Airbnb was booked by Eliza. Changing plans now would not be right. Joshua, we are a family, and you would have a weird relationship with your mother. I just feel like this small, tired thing, and I need a soft place to land. And there it was, her ability to manipulate her very own son into feeling like a piece of shit. And with all I've done for you since you were a baby, Joshua, can't the very least kneesies do the arm over and humor your old dear? How did you release it in your sleep, while turning over under the covers to avoid doing as mother asked? That was a tool Linda used time and time again, by playing on his heartstrings made him question what he had done. All right, fine, mother. You can share a room like we said you would have to in the beginning, this one time, but no more. We knew if we tried to fight it, that breath would be wasted and impossible because there was no winning against her despite how present she could get sometimes. And with that we, begrudgingly, left our Airbnb and moved to Linda's old room. We saw the room and we entered there. A feeling of decease completed us. Linda clearly selected the unsuitable choice of seating deliberately. She had no intention to inconvenience us at that time. The room was tiny, filled with old furniture and a smell that lingered. The mattress, overused and old, had a deep sag in the middle that made me feel like I might actually roll into it if no one else was there. The bathroom was tiny, old-fashioned, and the shower ran out nearly a drip. It was nothing like the Airbnb we booked initially, and I knew in my heart that it will be an unpleasant stay for weeks. I'm not going to lie. My mom must have reserved this room to punish us. Or this might be more like the lowest-rated room in the entire app. You think? I wouldn't put it past her. She's an imp that knows how to take charge and turn everything back to her. The springs squeaked every time the mattress, covered with a lacy quilt, dimpled as we shifted our weight on the first night's sleep, that more tossing and turning. We knew that if we failed to get the good night of sleep our bodies needed, and this would lead us into a morning in which we were walking zombies. We had trouble with a few on and off situations throughout the day. The endless interruptions in the form of noise from other rooms and barely functioning Wi-Fi started to drive me crazy. We were utterly unaware that our uncomfortable concessions would be nothing in comparison to what challenges my mother-in-law was going to go through this year. Following the unforeseen room change, we were up bright and early to enjoy our family vacation. The day spread before us like a painting on the front of a postcard. Laughter ringing off the edge of land, sand crunching into our souls and salt water lapping as we soaked in what only that moment could hold for joy. So Linda went to a kiosk on the beach, but that elation twisted into embarrassment when her card was declined. And I said, "Pineapple mango smoothie, STAT. That will be $5.95. It was kindly declined. Sorry, ma'am." Linda's face turned red with embarrassment when she overheard a few of the other beachgoers turn her way. "What? That's impossible. Try it again. What on earth could the mistake be?" The cashier tried to swipe it once more just like the customer wanted. "No mistake, ma'am. Your card has been declined. You know what, actually we cannot accept this credit card. Do you have another form of payment?" Hurt and humiliated, Linda quickly scooted back out to Joshua. "Joshua, can I have some of your drink?" Mom, you do know you can purchase a set of your own? There's a stall right there." She drank all of Joshua's drink without leaving any for him. I did, but my card supposedly got declined. Are you sure everything is right with your finances, Mom? Perhaps we can see it tomorrow. It's fine. The cashier is a new hire, and I do not think he knows how to use the card. I just wanted to continue not wasting your breath on him, so I ran away. Linda's face. Embarrassment, annoyance while passing someone who noticed it. I remember this face. Wait a minute, you are the one from that video I saw. It rang out and Linda paled, her mouth parting in an expression of shock as she looked at the nurse. What video? Why are you talking shit? I really don't know. If this is some sort of prank, please quit and move on. I'm not in the mood for it. Oh, come on. You mean the bathroom changing into video? It has gone a bit viral online. It has been all the rage lately. My God, grandmother, you have not lost your touch. Linda's face fell, her voice shook as she swapped worried glances with Joshua. Hey, stop that. That's not funny. That was totally something my mother would never do. You must be mistaken. I mean, not saying it's her or anything because it was dark and all but this person, hesitant, looks exactly like the girl in that video. Well, take your look, Hera. He looked at the screen hesitantly and narrowed his eyes closer, looking as someone changed clothes in what seems to be a restroom. Finally, it dawned on Linda, as her eyes opened wide. It really was she. Joshua felt his heart sink at the sight of it and immediately turned away. Not wishing to cause her any more shame, he chose to pretend otherwise. Yeah, I see it. But nope, that's not her. No, I mean, have you seen this picture of her? I'm positive. Trust me, that's a random. You should really think twice before you call a random person that. Joshua glowered at the stranger, signaling him to get lost. The passerby muttered an apology and continued on his merry way. We quickly scurried back to our Airbnb, both of us trying to process that unsettling realization. Joshua's protective side kicked in, and he wanted to know more. He went over the room with a fine comb, checking every nook and cranny to try and find out exactly why that discovery had been so irksome. As Joshua entered the restroom, he noticed something strange. In one of the corners there was a little screw that was not like other ones on it, and when he took better look, he found lens in the top side hidden below it. The bathroom from end to end was an elaborate labyrinth of concealed cameras. Every angle, every intimate moment secretly filmed without our knowledge or assent. And we have a camera in there. And also there, someone's been spying on you. And I'm very confident that they were also harvesting your card info from it. This is why it fell earlier. Linda was shell-shocked and she felt instant fear running through her spine. Oh my, someone did this. My life is officially ruined. I don't deserve this at all. Versus you two should spy on him. We gave her a pass on some of the nonsense and borderline offensive things she said because we figured it's just panic talking. Suddenly refueled by the fire of urgency, we grabbed our bags again and bolted out of that room, which had turned into an unlivable visual recounting of her personhood. Linda's face blanched in no small horror of her actions. Now she was forced to reside in the less luxurious room that she actually opted for. The sight and feel of the supper space made Linda cringe. She started walking towards the antique kitchenette, hoping to pacify her irritation with a simple meal. But those plans were quickly abandoned when she saw the lack of silverware and the only real items in there. She tried to concentrate on reading a book of her own instead, but the poor lighting and moldy smell in the room just made it worse. All she did was sigh, understanding what the family outing meant for her, nowhere near where one would have thought it is. Linda felt like a prisoner and grew to miss the confines of the room, refusing ever again at whatever cost. Too great for anyone else involved if she had any say in it, to leave. She was ashamed to even face her world now that she ended up in a humiliating way creepy, not long back. Joshua and I, meanwhile, wasted no time in planning our next adventure whilst still on vacation. You're still going out? You wouldn't really leave me here in this place, right? Oh, Joshua, your mother is all alone. Kinda almost a whole world against me. Mom, we planned these activities and paid for them. Nor would it be fair to the two people that we did go. I guess you can just travel with us then. Honestly, thinking that we were going to tramp off without you. No thanks. Have fun without me then. Your own mother. I suppose I am just here to screw it all up. He knew what followed her words, the ever-stinging passive-aggressiveness and guilt-tripping she used yet again. He played it off by acting like he didn't catch the subtext and outrageously misunderstood Linda's words. Thank you, Mom. I knew you'd understand. You too, okay. Because it is a really fun place to be in. Like, you must have booked this for a purpose, right? Linda was able to stay back with her, while Joshua and I conquered the big colorful outside. She enviously looked out the window, seeing Joshua with his adolescent headstrong and free spirit. I just really hope she had plenty of hours in that mediocre room to think about how short-lived entitlement is compared to genuine happiness. Linda counted the days in drudgery, longing for her release to come. Her card had been used for financial fraud, and she sparred with a bank agent about it. And little else, scratch that off her list. The misery of the room seemed to leech her spirit, and then there was Joshua, and ours had been filled with mirth. My mother-in-law has always been one of the most confident people I know, but Karma sure knew how to humble her ass. Well, Linda, that's to let you know the grass aren't always greener in the other room.
Hey there, I'm Lisa, and I'm here to share a story about breaking free from old patterns and escaping the grip of a toxic relationship with my ex-husband, Jackson. This journey has been a roller coaster of ups and downs, but it ultimately led to self-discovery. I'm sharing my story for all the women, and even men, dealing with similar situations, hoping to inspire them to take a stand against what is wrong. Let me begin by telling you about Jackson, the man I once thought was my everything. We met in college, and he had that classic bad boy vibe that made me starry-eyed. Little did I know that beneath that magnetic exterior was a world of chaos. After graduation, he proposed, and I said yes. If I could go back in time, that's the moment I would change. Neither of us had a real job, and we were barely scraping by with low-paying gigs that could hardly cover rent for our tiny apartment. Back then, it felt like an adventure, but looking back, it was a big red flag. Jackson always claimed he loved me more than life itself, showering me with affection. But as time passed, I realized it wasn't love, not the healthy kind anyway. It was an obsession. He was insanely jealous and overbearingly possessive, qualities I initially mistook for protectiveness. Jackson had a knack for turning innocent situations into full-blown dramas. I lost count of the times he got jealous over people simply smiling at me. He even got mad at my cousins for being close to me. I convinced myself it was his way of showing love, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Things escalated when he asked me to quit my job because he didn't like the guys I worked with. Babe, I need to talk to you about something. I think you should quit your job. What? Why, Jackson? Don't you trust me? It's not about trust, Lisa. It's those guys you work with. I don't trust them. You can't just hide me away from the world, Jackson. I wish I could, babe. I just worry about you. It's not a safe world we live in. You don't get it. With my degree, I can get a better job, which means a better life for us. You know I have a degree too from the same college. I'm a bit slow right now, but I promise one day I'll provide everything you deserve. It's not about what you can provide. I never doubted your ability. I need to work on my career too. Independence is crucial these days. I just can't stand the thought of any guys getting close to you. It's your call now. It's either me or the job. I would choose you in a heartbeat. I couldn't believe I had been such a fool to leave my job just because he asked me to. At first, it seemed like he cared so much, taking care of our finances and everything. But it didn't take long for me to realize he wasn't just overprotective. He was controlling. He didn't want me to go out with friends, even for innocent nights out. He claimed he was worried about my safety, but in reality, he was more concerned about losing control. Then, a new problem arose. Jackson started getting into gambling. At first, it was just occasional poker nights with his buddies, but it quickly escalated. Soon, he was spending our hard-earned money at casinos and betting on sports events. When I tried to talk to him about it, he brushed off my concerns, saying it was just a way to relax and have some fun. But it wasn't fun anymore. His obsession with gambling took a toll on our finances. Bills piled up, and we struggled to make ends meet. Jackson, babe, we need to talk about your gambling. It's spiraling out of control and affecting both of us. What are you talking about, sweetie? I can handle it. It's just a bit of fun. Fun. Jackson, we're drowning in debt, and you've lost so much money lately. It's not fun anymore. It's an addiction. I can't believe you're accusing me like this. I know what I'm doing. Jackson, please, for me? Okay, maybe I'll try to cut down a bit. Just for you, love. One day, Jackson came home carrying something I could never have imagined in my wildest dreams, a stack of divorce papers. My heart sank as he handed them to me. Despite the challenges and struggles, I thought we were in this together. Jackson, why? We've been through so much together. We can work through whatever this is. Lisa, I don't know. It just felt like the right thing to do. We're not living the dream life we thought we would. Even though I love you, I can't keep going like this. It's over for me. We promised each other we would stick together no matter what. I know we made those promises, but things have changed. This is happening. You cannot stop it. I'll see you in court. After the courtroom procedures, our 3-year marriage ended just like that. I couldn't find closure in the vague excuse he gave for ending our marriage. The thought of reaching out to him one more time to rekindle the old flame was tempting. I couldn't bring myself to give up just yet. I decided to make up a reason to talk to him, claiming he had left some belongings at our old apartment. It was a silly excuse, but I needed to hear his voice to understand what had gone wrong. I dialed his number. The phone rang and rang, but Jackson did not pick up. I felt a pang of disappointment, but didn't give up. I left him a heartfelt voicemail, pouring out my feelings and asking him to call me back. Hours turned into days, and there was still no response. A week later, after countless attempts to reach him, I received a message from my phone provider. You cannot send messages to this conversation. I assumed he had blocked me, making it clear that he had moved on. It was one of the biggest mysteries of my life. Jackson, the man I thought would be by my side forever, had disappeared without a trace. What had gone wrong? Why had he given up on our marriage? Why had he walked away without a proper explanation? It was then that I knew I had no choice but to move forward. With my parents' financial support, I picked up the pieces of my life and started on a journey to rebuild myself. It wasn't a walk in the park, but I was determined to bounce back. I realized that to boost my career prospects, I needed to upgrade my skills. So, I dove into self-improvement, determined to add some impressive new bullet points to my resume. After a lot of hard work and personal growth, I landed a gig as a junior brand consultant at a fancy arts and antiques company. This was a big deal for me and a clear sign that my efforts were paying off. Little did I know that this job would lead to even greater things. Within a year, my commitment and hustle caught the attention of my bosses, and I was promoted to the main brand consultant. Finally, I could start securing my financial future. But wait, there's more to my story. I also met someone who would become very important in my life. His name was Joshua, and he's now my husband. Our paths crossed at the grocery store when he bumped into me. Hey, I've seen you somewhere. Are you Jackson's wife? Yeah, that's me, his ex-wife. I remember now. I once did some business with Jackson, and he got ridiculously hammered. You had to swoop in and save the day. Ah, that infamous night. It's a hilarious yet dark tale for sure. So, what happened between the two of you, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know myself. It's a long story. Well, can I have your number, and we can talk about it over coffee if you want? Sure, why not? Great, looking forward to hearing that story. After that casual coffee date with Joshua, we talked about the infamous night when Jackson was, well, Jackson. As I started sharing my side of the story, Joshua really listened. He wasn't just hearing me, he was genuinely listening. It felt liberating to have someone care enough to understand what I had been through. Joshua helped me see that Jackson was a textbook narcissist and that I had been stuck in a toxic and abusive situation for far too long. It was eye-opening. We kept meeting up, sometimes for a bite or just to hang out. Joshua treated me with respect, something I had almost forgotten. He patiently let me heal and grow, never pushing me to talk, but always being there when I needed to vent. Gradually, I started falling for him. Not just because he had been a great listener when I needed to talk about my Jackson drama, but also because he was an amazing person, funny, kind, and down to earth. We had this connection that felt like it was meant to be. One day, as we were lounging in a park, he looked at me and said, "You deserve to be happy, Lisa. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are." That's when it hit me. He was talking about himself too. After 2 blissful years of dating, Joshua finally got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. You can imagine how over the moon happy I was. My parents were thrilled too, and it felt like the fresh start I had been waiting for. A man with stability, a fantastic personality, and a heart full of love. What more could a girl ask for? It was like the universe had aligned all my lucky stars in my favor. During those 2 years, everything was falling into place. I was excelling at work and living the dream life I had always imagined. Out of the blue, when I was riding high on this cloud of happiness, something came along to shake things up. It was one of those moments when you realize that life is not a straight line. The day after my wedding, on my first day back at work as Mrs. Lisa Baker, I noticed a cake on my desk. My first thought was that it was probably from one of my friends, a belated congratulations for the wedding or something. But as I opened the box, my heart sank. There, in big bold red letters, the cake spelled out CHETR. I quickly closed the box before anyone else could catch a glimpse of it. So there I was at my desk, wondering who had played such a sick prank on me, when my phone rang with an unknown number flashing on the screen. "Hey there, Jane. It's me, Jackson. I can't believe you're calling after all this time. Where have you been? This is unbelievable. Wait, did you send me the cake?" "Yeah, I did. Well, it's not a catch-up, to be honest. Consider it a loyalty test. I wanted to see if you would still pick up when I call you, for old time's sake." "A loyalty test? I thought you would still be mine, and you just moved on." "I was right after all. Look at you. I knew I couldn't trust you. You belong to the streets." "Jackson, are you hearing yourself? You're the one who divorced me without any reason, and now you're calling me names when I moved on." "Oh, I heard about your little wedding that happened yesterday, Lisa. I hope I'm not disturbing you on your honeymoon." "How on earth did you know?" "News travels fast, especially when your ex-wife is hooked up to your old business acquaintances. That doesn't give you the right to call me and complain. You made your decision, and I made mine." "Lisa, you've always been a bit helpless, haven't you?" "Huh, I bet you couldn't pay your own bills. That's why you clung to that poor Joshua. I must say he has grown a pair too. Can't we just move past this? Just check your messages. I just sent you a picture." I couldn't believe it. Jackson had sent me a picture of his laptop screen displaying his bank account balance, showing a total of $300,000. Where did all this money come from? Gambling, among other things. Turns out you were the one holding me back all along. You didn't stay loyal, did you? Remarried an old friend, eh? You always were a bit of a loser, and you weren't doing so well financially. I assume that's why you married Joshua, right? Some things never change. You will always be the same, Lisa, forever struggling and needing help. Well, have fun staying poor. You know what, Jackson? I don't need this. Don't you ever try to contact me again. You are just history to me now. Bye. Be careful choosing your words, Lisa. I slammed the phone down on Jackson. What was he even going on about? A loyalty test. It felt like he had been treating my life as some sort of joke for the past 3 years. It was becoming increasingly clear that he had always been a narcissist, but it had taken me this long to see it. Strangely, I didn't mention the encounter with Jackson to Joshua. We had just celebrated our wedding day, and I didn't want to spoil our happiness. After that creepy Jackson encounter, I started feeling unsafe, as if he might want to harm me. But I kept it to myself and eventually pushed it aside, hoping it would fade away. Then 6 months later, something totally nuts happened. One quiet Sunday night, Joshua and I were chilling at home, watching a movie. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and I answered it cautiously. Guess who it was? A Slosh Jackson, smelling like a brewery. I was shocked and scared. Why was he here, and what was he up to? Joshua stepped in, all protective, but we were both baffled and uneasy. "I need to talk to Jane." "Jackson, you're drunk. Go away. We do not want you here. Not now, not ever. Please just let me." "Jackson, please just go, buddy. She's not your wife anymore. I need to talk to her." "Jackson, leave now, or I might have to call the cops." I admit that a part of me was worried about Jackson. His life had taken a nosedive, and it did stir up a tad bit of concern. But let's be real, it was not my problem anymore. After everything he had put me through, all I had for him was pure hatred. Once Jackson was gone, I decided to open up to Joshua about the phone call. It was a difficult conversation, but Joshua proved to be my rock. He had my back, no questions asked. He made me feel safe, assuring me there was nothing to fear. The next day, Joshua was at work and I found myself alone at home. My phone rang, and it was Jackson calling again. "What's the deal, Jackson? Why are you calling me now?" "Lisa, I need to apologize for everything I put you through." "An apology after all these years? What brought this on? I always believed no amount of therapy could ever fix you because you're so messed up." "Lisa, I'm in a tough spot. I need some financial help. I know you might not have much, but..." "Financial help?" I knew this wasn't so innocent. "Calling me poor, remember? You always thought I lacked potential and control over my life. That's why you tried to manipulate me. But you know what, Jackson? Check your messages." I hung up on Jackson, then sent him a picture of my bank balance, $600,000, double what he had in his account a while back. Jackson called me up again, this time crying. "Lisa, darling, I'm genuinely sorry for mistreating you and trying to control you. Where did you get all this money from?" "Stop crying in front of me, it's pathetic. Where I got my money is simple. I earned it. I'm a brand consultant now." "Oh my God, Lisa, can you please help me? I've lost everything to gambling. I can't afford a place to stay. I beg you, honey, this could be a game changer for me." Funny how the tables turn, isn't it? Look at you now, almost homeless with a gambling addiction and a narcissistic personality. No family, no friends, nothing. Meanwhile, here I am with a great job, a loving husband, and a happy home. Who's the problematic one now, you toxic piece of trash? "Lisa, please, I'm in real trouble here. I need help." "No more chances, Jackson. How can you even think I would help you after all you did? This is it. One more call, and I'm taking serious action against you." "Lisa, please, just wait. We're done for good, Jackson." It's been a month since that call with Jackson, and it's safe to say he's been nowhere in sight. Back when I was with Jackson, I thought love was this intense, burning, red kind of thing. He had me convinced that it had to be all fiery and passionate. But you know what? Now, with Joshua, I've learned that love is not like that at all. Real love is more like a warm, steady, golden glow. It's not about drama or control. It's about support and lifting each other up. But I can't help but think about all the men and women out there going through similar situations, stuck in a toxic cycle with their exes. I want to tell them this: break free from that pattern. Your ex might make you feel worthless and convince you there is nothing better out there for you, but let me be clear. There is. You deserve all the happiness, love, and success in the world. Just like I found it, you can too. It's not easy and it takes time, but you're worth it. Do not let anyone drag you down or make you doubt yourself. The president of the company passed away, and his funeral is the day after tomorrow. I received the sudden news 2 days ago from my boss at the head office, the same one who had relegated me. Needless to say, you must come to the funeral, he insisted, making sure I would attend. As expected, any employee would go to the funeral of the president of their company, but I was fed up with my boss's attitude as usual. Today, I left the suburban branch office where I had been relegated and arrived at the nearest train station to head to the funeral home. It looked like I would get there on time. As I was about to walk through the ticket gate, I saw a woman pushing a wheelchair, struggling at the ticket counter. She seemed to be seeking help from the station attendant, who appeared uncomfortable. Watching closely, I noticed the woman looked like a foreigner, and the girl in the wheelchair, probably of elementary school age, also looked foreign. I wondered if they were mother and daughter. Curious, I casually walked towards them. They were speaking Vietnamese. In fact, I had majored in Vietnamese as a second language in college. Even though it was my second foreign language, I had taken all the classes and even obtained a certificate. I also had experience working as a hall staff member at a Vietnamese restaurant, so thanks to a life surrounded by native Vietnamese speakers, my Vietnamese speaking ability was fairly good. With this background, I decided to talk to her in Vietnamese if she was in trouble. "Can I help you with something?" I asked. She looked surprised for a moment but immediately replied in Vietnamese, "Oh, can you speak Vietnamese?" I nodded, a little relieved that she understood. "Yes, I do. I studied at university. I can speak a little. I thought you might need some help. Her eyes lit up. Thank you, you were so kind. Actually, I was having trouble figuring out how to buy a ticket. I tried to ask the station attendant, but he couldn't understand me at all. Since I can barely speak English, I didn't know what to do. Thank goodness there is a kind person like you. Could you please tell me how to buy a ticket? Oh, I see. That must have been hard. Of course, it's no problem. I'll show you at the ticket counter. I showed her how to buy the ticket, and we went through the ticket gate together. Thank you so much. You were very helpful, they said, looking totally relieved. I was very glad that I could use what I'd learned to help others. No, not at all. There's an elevator right there you can use, I said, pointing it out, but then realized, oh my, unfortunately, the elevator is out of order. Oh dear, it looks like it's out of order, I noted. Hearing that, she became terribly upset. Oh no, what am I going to do? I have something very important to do today. Her face, which had just brightened up, became gloomy again. I couldn't decide right away if I should carry the wheelchair up the stairs. Depending on the weight, it could take a long time, and I might not make it to the president's funeral in time. I thought about asking the station attendant for help by translating, but when I glanced at him, he was obviously avoiding eye contact with me. I didn't want to rely on those guys. Okay, I gotta do it, I thought. I didn't want to come this far and just abandon them. I made up my mind. If you want, I can carry your wheelchair up the stairs. Can you carry your daughter on your back? Yes, I can. Thank you, she replied happily. She picked up her daughter from the wheelchair, and I folded it up and carried it. It was quite heavy. Was it made in a foreign country or domestically? I had never carried wheelchairs before in my life, so I couldn't compare. I managed to carry it up the stairs. Are you all right? She repeatedly asked, even though she was also carrying her child on her back. I'm fine. I think she is heavier than the wheelchair, isn't she? I pretended to be calm and climbed the stairs. I'm fine. I'm used to carrying my daughter on my back, she smiled. We reached the landing in the middle of the stairs and decided to rest there. I'm sorry it's too late to ask you, but weren't you on your way somewhere? I thought you might be in a hurry. Yes, actually I'm in kind of a hurry. For a moment, I remembered my boss's face and answered with a smile. She suddenly realized, oh no, don't worry about us, you just go ahead. She said that, but there was no way I was leaving them in the middle of the stairs like this. There was absolutely no way she could carry this heavy wheelchair up by herself. No, it's okay. You're more important. Let me help you to the end, I insisted. I checked my watch. I could still make it to the funeral just in time. After a short break to regain some strength, I climbed the rest of the stairs, little by little. Hang in there, mister. Thank you. Her daughter cheered me on. Finally, we made it to the top. We made it. We made it, I exclaimed. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you, she said, and the three of us shared the joy of reaching the platform. At that moment, we heard an announcement from the station. The train will be leaving soon. Oh no, I reflexively tried to run to catch the train, but the doors closed and it left. Oh my God, I muttered. Without that train, I would miss the president's funeral and be late. I'm sorry, it's my fault you missed the train, she said, apologizing profusely. I didn't want to make them feel worse than they already did. It's going to be all right. I'll figure something out, I replied, smiling to reassure her. While waiting for the next train, I called my boss, but he didn't answer. He was probably busy. I was anxious and impatient, but also a little relieved. I put her daughter back in the wheelchair and finished my task. As we sat on the bench, I decided to ask the question that had been on my mind. Do you two live here? Actually, got married and just moved here, but things have been a bit. She trailed off, not wanting to elaborate. It's okay, you don't have to talk if you don't want to. I'm sorry for asking a private question. I quickly apologized. In the meantime, time was passing. The next train was in 15 minutes. I looked at the timetable and sighed involuntarily. The thought of my boss being angry with me again was depressing, partly because I would be late for the president's funeral, but also because I didn't want to see him after a while. Is it possible that there's something else bothering you besides being late? She asked, startling me with her insight. Normally, I wouldn't talk to a stranger about my private life, but I felt less tense and decided to speak little by little. Actually, I had an irrational thing happen to me at work, and I was transferred to a branch office near here. I had a stable job at the head office, I said. I'm sorry, that's very sad, she replied. I know this is not the kind of thing to tell someone you just met, but my boss puts all the blame on me, and that's how I ended up where I am now. Today, I have to face that boss, and that's why I was feeling a little depressed. I continued. I'm sorry to tell you this story that you may not want to hear, but I haven't had anyone to talk to about it until now. It's okay. You saved us. Let me at least listen to your story, she said with a sympathetic smile. I'm kind of embarrassed. I've never complained about work to anyone before, I admitted. I found myself talking about something I had been holding inside for a long time. I guess I wanted someone to listen. I was surprised that I couldn't stop talking. My boss didn't like me, so he intentionally did wrong things and put all the blame on me. He deliberately pissed off the president, telling him that I was to blame, so I was relegated to the suburban office. I was just about to build my career at the head office, I explained. I see. Thank you for telling me what you're going through. I wish I could help you, but sorry, I can't do anything, she mumbled sadly. No, don't worry, just think of it as one office worker's rant. I feel better just talking to someone, I said. I felt bad that I had burdened her. Trying to change the subject to something more cheerful, I said, actually, I have a dream. I want to make frozen foods for foreigners. Something authentic, something that would remind them of their homeland while living in this country. But that's not possible at the branch office where I am now. Food development can only be done at the head office. That's why I want to go back to the head office someday and make my dream come true. That's wonderful, that's wonderful. I'll support your dream, she said. While we were talking, the train arrived. I helped them get on, and coincidentally, we got off at the same station 2 stops away. Thank you for listening to my story. Now, excuse me, but I must hurry, I said, rushing towards the ticket gates. Thank you very much, thank you. They waved their hands and thanked me in English. When I arrived at the site, the funeral was nearly over. My boss was glaring at me while the priest was praying. I had messed up. My head hurt just thinking about what would happen next. I was trembling during the entire ceremony. Right after the ceremony ended and the coffin was placed in the hearse, my boss approached me. Hey, I have something to tell you. I need to talk to you. Yes, I replied. He took me to a private room, and the moment the door closed, he started yelling at me. Who do you think you are, you blinking fool? What are you doing showing up late for the president's funeral? I'm sorry. I was helping some foreigners at the train station, and I got delayed. I tried to explain. Helping people and foreigners is none of your business. Just leave such foreigners alone. He yelled so loudly that people outside the room could hear. The managing director and other employees rushed to the scene. What's going on here? The managing director asked. I thought it was inappropriate for him to be late for a funeral, so I scolded him, my boss said. I see. Being late is not good. So why were you late? The managing director asked me. Well, he said he was helping a foreigner, and I told him to leave that kind of thing alone. My boss interrupted. Just then, a young man who had been listening at the back of the crowd stepped forward. Wait a minute. What did you just say? The boss glared at the resolute young man. What is it suddenly? Excuse me, who are you? I am the son of the president of this company. It was my father's funeral today. I haven't been back in Japan for a long time, so you probably don't know who I am yet. I have decided to take over the company, he announced. Everyone looked surprised at the same time. I heard you speaking very loudly, so I had to listen to what you were saying. You seem to be blaming him for helping foreigners. I don't think that's a good thing. No, that's not what I meant. I was just warning him about being late for the funeral. My boss started to panic. I don't agree with blaming him because my wife is Vietnamese and she was saved by him, the president's son said, bringing forward the Vietnamese woman I had just met at the station. I was utterly shocked. I did not expect that she was the president's daughter-in-law. Our daughter has trouble with her legs, so she is in a wheelchair. When the two of them tried to take the train today, they didn't know how to buy a ticket. They tried to ask the station attendant but couldn't communicate because she can't speak English well. When they were both at a complete loss, he, who speaks Vietnamese, helped them buy a ticket. In addition, he willingly carried the wheelchair up the long stairs. He even helped them get on the train, even though he was in a hurry. That's what my wife told me. My wife, my daughter, and I are very grateful to him. It is outrageous to scold him for that, he said firmly. My boss shuddered. No, I didn't know that. I'm sorry, he stammered. The atmosphere was tense, but I felt a sense of relief knowing that my actions were understood and appreciated by someone who mattered. The next president was furious. Not only were you very rude to foreigners, but you also have the nerve to show up late for the funeral. Our company is planning to make more products for the international market. It's troubling to have people like you here. I don't think our company needs you." "Oh no, please don't say that," my boss pleaded desperately. But no matter how much he begged, it didn't make any difference. "I heard that you even cheated and blamed him, then kicked him out of the head office. You were fired." "This can't be happening," my boss stammered, unable to accept what just happened. The next president gave my boss a cold look as he shook, then turned to me with kindness. "Thank you for saving my wife and daughter. I was supposed to drive them here, but I had to leave early, so they had to take the train. My wife also told me why you were moved to the branch office. I can't allow such things to happen. When I become president, I will make sure the company values its employees' true abilities." He spoke passionately, then added, "By the way, I heard you speak Vietnamese. If you're willing, I'd like you to develop food products for foreigners at the head office." I was extremely surprised. "Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure. We need talented people like you to develop our products." A dream I had almost given up on was coming true. I was so happy and surprised that I found myself in tears. When the new president took over, I returned to the head office, where I had longed to work. I was finally able to focus on developing food products for foreigners. We created authentic bibimbap for Koreans, hot pot sets for Chinese, and koshari for Egyptians, among others. There were many failures at first, such as difficulties in properly defrosting large products. However, through the team's concerted efforts and repeated trial and error, we successfully commercialized the products. Once we started selling, the products became big hits, one after another. Our company's sales steadily rose. "I'm so glad we entrusted you with this project," the president said, very pleased. Recognized for my achievements, I was promoted. Since that incident, I had become good friends with the president's wife and daughter, and they often took me out to dinner. I met her friend at a gathering later, and eventually, I married her. She was also Vietnamese, making ours an international marriage. Looking back, it felt like a strange twist of fate, but I was glad I took the plunge back then. Holding my baby, I resolved to do my best to make my wife and child happy. That is why I continue to work hard on product development. "You're the candidate for the next president," the president once said at a company party, quite drunk. I knew he was joking, but those words made me happy. No one else had ever been told anything similar, so I wondered if it was somehow special. I hope so, and I'm secretly encouraged by it. For the sake of the president who cares about me, and for the company, I want to continue making products that will be loved by many people. When I met Nancy's father to formally introduce myself for marriage, he looked down on me and suddenly started yelling. "You're a high school graduate, I hear. I won't let my daughter marry a high school graduate." Although I was somewhat prepared, it was still harsh to hear. I thought, what an unfortunate girl Nancy is. At the same time, I wanted to rescue her somehow. "Hey, you high school dropout, get out of here right now," he continued. "Understood, I'll leave," I said, and then called my secretary on the phone. After a while, my secretary entered the room. "Who are you?" Nancy's father asked. "I am Michael, and I turned 62 this year. Unfortunately, I'm still single. It's not that I was never interested in marriage. There were women I thought about marrying in the past, but we never made it to getting married and eventually broke up. Each time, I would dive back into my work, and before I knew it, I had reached this age. To be honest, now I'm more concerned about finishing up my time at the company rather than getting married. The company I'm currently with is performing quite poorly. Identifying the causes of the decline and turning things around is what I consider my final job. I joined this company 2 months ago, and I have finally gotten used to it, but the atmosphere of the company is pretty bad." "Good morning." "Oh, good morning." Her name is Nancy. She works in accounting at the company, and she's been helping me figure out solutions to the poor performance. She must be 32 this year. To me, she's like a daughter, very serious and incredibly helpful. Lately, I can't stop thinking about her. Sometimes she looks incredibly troubled. "What's wrong? Is something the matter?" I asked her. "Oh yeah, I'm fine," she replied. "You can always talk to me about anything." "Thank you." We always have these kinds of exchanges. A few days later, I had to go to another department, and it was late when I returned to accounting. Everyone had left, and the office was empty except for Nancy, who was still there. What? Still working? Asterisk, sniff. Asterisk, when I looked, I saw that Nancy was crying. I'm sorry, what's wrong? Well, I might not be much help, but talking about it could make you feel better. Won't you tell me what's going on? I shouldn't trouble you with this. Don't worry about it. It's the least I can do for all the help you've given me at work. With that, Nancy finally opened up. I'm sorry to worry you. Sometimes I wonder what I'm living for. I'm scared to go home. Did something happen at home? When I said that, she began to speak quietly. Her parents were what you'd call toxic. It seems like her entire salary from this job is being siphoned off by her parents, especially Nancy's mother, who seemed quite greedy about money. This month's paycheck is too small, isn't it? That's all of it. You could increase it by working overtime, right? Children are supposed to make their parents' lives easier. This amount won't ease anything. You're really useless. On payday, she was typically told things like this, and her entire paycheck was taken away. And the president of this company is my father. What? I had yet to meet the president. I think my father only sees me as a tool of his own. According to her, Nancy's father likes to dominate, and even at 32, he checks her cell phone every day. Since the parents pay for the cell phone, they feel it's only natural they have the right to check it. Hand it over now. If she refuses to hand over the phone, if you don't hand it over, I'll cut off your phone, he threatens. Since Nancy's salary is entirely taken by her mother, she couldn't possibly pay the cell phone bill herself. He checks all her contacts in the phone, and if any men's names are saved, they are immediately deleted in a tyrannical fashion. If she comes home late, she's interrogated about where she was, who she was with, and what she was doing. It seems Nancy's father wants to keep her tied to the house. He wants her within his sight and making his life easier. Hearing this, I understood why she was so considerate. It made strange sense to me. I also began to understand why her father had her working in his company. If she's within sight, any men approaching her could be immediately deterred. Then why hasn't he said anything to me? Is it because of my age? Am I not considered a threat? Does he even realize I work at this company? All these questions started floating in my mind. Meanwhile, Nancy continued speaking. I don't have any freedom. It seems like I've always had to live for my parents. Has it always been like this since you were little? Yes, always. It seems this wasn't something that just started recently. Useless. I don't need you anymore. I'll throw you away. From a young age, Nancy was raised hearing things like this. Because of that, she did the household chores instead of her mother to feel needed. Nancy's mother can't do housework, and when Nancy tries to clean up, is that some kind of sarcasm? Nancy's mother would start raging if she stopped cleaning, and she'd be scolded for that too. As a child, she was troubled about what to do when her mother was in a bad mood. Her mother just wanted to yell, talking endlessly when angry and not listening to anything Nancy had to say. If Nancy ever tried to voice her opinion, it would set her mother off. Nancy had to keep saying yes until her mother was satisfied. I was a child, so I didn't know about the term toxic parents. I took everything my parents said as absolute, believing that everything that happened was my fault. I thought about leaving this world many times. How can I get some relief? If I were to leave this world, would anyone be sad? Even now, she finds herself thinking these thoughts. The painful expression she sometimes showed me now made sense. I see, it's been tough, huh? And still is, Nancy replied, a bit teary-eyed. I do have a dream, even someone like me. What kind of dream? It's been my dream since elementary school to live on my own, to live alone. You're thinking, is that all? Well, yeah. My parents see me as nothing more than a maid, a cash cow. I want to get away from such people. I want my own time. Is it wrong for me to feel this way? Not at all. And I think it'll come true soon. What? Hearing Nancy's story made me think about how unfortunate she was. At the same time, I wanted to somehow rescue her. You'll need to be ready to leave your parents, but can you do that? If you stay with your parents, Nancy, you'll be ruined. I have a plan. As I listened to Nancy, I explained the plan I had thought of. Really? Can I do that? Nancy seemed quite surprised by my plan. Yes, my plan was for us to pretend to get married so you could leave your home. They'll find out it's a lie soon enough. That's okay. It's after you cut ties with your parents. Given my age, Nancy's parents will definitely oppose it. If they oppose, you can just say you're cutting parental ties and leave. But I actually only have a high school diploma. My parents thought it wasteful to spend money on university, so they didn't let me go. What company would hire someone with just a high school diploma? Don't worry about that. I'm a high school graduate too, and there are plenty of companies that would hire someone like you, Nancy. I guarantee it. I had been working with Nancy for about 2 months. Seeing her work, it's hard to believe she learned accounting on her own. I was convinced she was a valuable asset. A few days later, the day came to meet Nancy's parents. Nancy had been worried ever since. It's up to you, Nancy. If you're really ready to cut ties with your parents, you'll be fine, I kept reassuring her. Entering Nancy's house, I greeted her parents. Both of Nancy's parents had a brash demeanor, nothing like Nancy. What brings you here today? Her father asked. Yes, I'm considering marrying Nancy. Don't joke with me. As soon as I said that, he began to yell. I've heard about you. You're a high school graduate, I hear. I won't let my daughter marry a high school graduate. Apparently, Nancy had told her father. That was exactly what I had anticipated. Nancy, you're being deceived by this high school dropout, aren't you? And how old are you? I'll be 62 this year. 62? Absolutely not. There's no way I can approve of a 62-year-old high school graduate. You must not be good for much anyway. What's good about a poor-looking man like that? I was somewhat prepared, but it was still harsh to hear. If you won't approve of the marriage, then we'll have to sever our family ties. Nancy, I won't allow you to leave home. You're the high school dropout. Get out of here. Understood. I'm leaving, and I'm taking Nancy with me. Saying that, I called my secretary on the phone. After a while, the secretary came in. Who are you? President, are you back? Oh, President. There's no way this poor-looking high school dropout could be a president. Which company is this? Watch your mouth. Who do you think you're speaking to? It's unbelievable, but you don't know, do you? If you don't know, let me enlighten you. This man is the president of your parent company. There is no room for rudeness. I can understand why they wouldn't recognize me. After all, I only became the president 3 months ago. That's enough. I'm sorry, but could you help Nancy with her luggage? Even the president can be too subtle. You should have just told them straight, Nancy said. So, I'll be taking Nancy with me. Nancy's parents were frozen by the secretary's words. I had forgotten to tell Nancy as well, so she seemed quite surprised. Oh right, your company's performance has been so poor that I had to conduct an internal investigation. I'll decide what to do about it soon. What do you mean, decide what to do? Exactly what I said. What will happen to me? Are you more concerned about yourself than the company and your employees? From what I've seen, you have excellent employees, which surprised me. Despite that, there's no growth in performance. I've concluded that it's because you are too autocratic. You understand what I'm saying, right? Be prepared. That's ridiculous. You? What are you going to do? I don't want this. Can we do something about it? Do something like what? Maybe find a position at a related company? I can't do that as a high school dropout. Where's that energy you had just a moment ago? If you had the power you were showing while yelling at me, you could make it anywhere. But please, somehow, it's always about you, isn't it? I'm at a loss for words. I'm going back. If you need me, I'll be at the office. With that, I tried to leave Nancy's house in a panic. Nancy's mother came out. Nancy, what about your mother? Are you leaving me too? Have you forgotten all I've done to raise you, you ungrateful child? Just let me be free for once. Haven't I always done as you asked until now? Don't bother me anymore. What about the money? You'll send money home, right? I later learned that although Nancy had been handing over her entire paycheck, she had been given a small allowance. This allowance was barely enough to cover her basic personal needs. I've been giving you money faithfully every month, haven't I? Take care of your own living expenses. Isn't it natural for children to take care of their parents? You're abandoning that responsibility. Yes, that's why I'm saying I'm cutting ties. How am I supposed to live now? It seemed Nancy's parents had always lived selfishly. As long as they were comfortable and secure, that was all that mattered. Nancy was never included in their comfort. They never got involved in anything inconvenient or troublesome. All these inconveniences and troubles had been pushed onto Nancy. That's what led to this situation. I thought that these toxic parents would only be a hindrance to Nancy's future. A parent shouldn't be allowed to crush their child's future. I had told Nancy to be firm and clear in her convictions. From the conversations I've heard, Nancy's resolve seemed firm. Goodbye. I don't expect we'll ever meet again, so take care. With that, Nancy conveyed her message to her mother and came towards the car where we were waiting. It was the moment Nancy truly became free. Thank you so much. I feel incredibly relieved. Any regrets? None at all. It was the first time I had seen Nancy smile like that. I felt it was worth enduring the harsh things Nancy's parents had said to me. Even I was hurt by being spoken to like that. Afterward, we headed to the apartment where Nancy would be living. I had already arranged a lease for Nancy's apartment beforehand. I had also prepared a new job for her. Really, thank you for everything. But I was surprised to learn that you, Michael, are the president of the parent company. I wasn't hiding it, there just wasn't a need to bring it up. From now on, you walk your own path in life. If you have troubles, I'm here to help. Saying this, I parted ways with Nancy. A few days later, Nancy's father came to the office. I apologize for my behavior the other day. You can do whatever you like with that girl. Please don't give up on our company, he said. His attitude significantly changed from before. Doesn't he care about his own daughter? I thought about asking, but I refrained. Don't worry about your daughter. I'll support Nancy so she can live the life she desires. But as for the company, I informed Nancy's father that he would have to resign as president. In return, I promised to continue the business by covering the deficits. How about that? This way, the company can be saved and employees can be retained. That's good, isn't it? That is. Nancy's father's complexion rapidly changed. Oh, what's the matter? I have worked tirelessly for the company. I cannot accept this outcome. I thought you might say that. Did you think I knew nothing during my internal investigations at the subsidiary? I visited various departments and heard stories about the president. It seems you've been treating the company as your own personal property. The employees aren't here just for you. Even if I were you, I'd make the same decision. Nancy's father sank to his knees. What will you do? It might be best to comply gracefully. Abandoned by your daughter, haven't you reflected a bit? Stop looking down on people and using them. Nancy's father was completely dejected, but it didn't end there. He was also under suspicion for embezzlement. He must have been hoarding quite a sum for himself. How long he had been embezzling money would soon be discovered. He probably didn't want to lose his position, enjoying the perks as long as he could. But such times cannot last forever. A few weeks later, Nancy's father was taken away by the police. I believe the police will uncover everything and he will never be able to return to his former life. After having made so many people suffer, he must face the consequences. As for Nancy's mother, she disappeared around the same time her husband was taken by the police. Perhaps she realized she could no longer siphon money from her husband or daughter. I wondered if Nancy's mother might be holding on to the embezzled funds, but I decided to leave everything to the police. Just when everything seemed to have settled, one troubling thing occurred. When I returned home, Nancy was waiting at my doorstep. Welcome back. What? You came again? Haven't you had dinner yet? I came to cook. Honestly, I appreciate it, but I'm concerned about what the neighbors might think with such a young woman frequently entering my house. But you said you'd marry me, didn't you? No, that was just a lie to get you out of that situation. What? That's terrible. You played with my feelings. It felt like I was being completely toyed with. Aren't I too old for you? That doesn't matter. She didn't seem to care at all about what I was saying. I couldn't tell anymore what was serious and what was a joke. Lately, she's been coming over almost every day. After a few months, there I was, living with Nancy. I had given in to her insistence. Isn't there someone more suitable for you? I found myself saying things that sounded like a father. Please don't ever say that again. She would get angry when I said that. You finally have your freedom. You should enjoy your life. I am enjoying my life. Being with you, Michael, is my choice, she said and continued to take care of me diligently. Does it bother you? No, not really. I am actually quite grateful. But I want you to use your time for yourself. It is for myself. I want you to need me, Michael. Being with you, I feel at peace. When I'm with Nancy, people often think we're father and daughter. Perhaps sensing how I felt, Nancy said, You worry too much about what others think. The world isn't going to make us happy, right? I've decided to seize my own happiness. Honestly, I'm perplexed by Nancy, but I think it's not too bad. I guess this must be happiness, as I'm beginning to feel it. It was 15 years ago, back when I was in elementary school. April had just arrived, and we had a class shuffle. Our new teacher was a young woman. When lunchtime came, she turned to the girl sitting next to me and said, Katie, you haven't paid your lunch fee, so don't eat, okay? Katie, always wearing ragged clothes, was a skinny little girl. Her family was poor, and since the previous fall, her parents hadn't been paying the school lunch fee. I overheard some gossip and learned that she had been allowed to eat lunch the year before. Seeing her sitting there with no food on her desk, looking down, made me feel sorry for her. Since the teacher ate lunch in the same room, I couldn't secretly share my food with her. Instead, I left just the bread, wrapped it in a napkin, hid it in my desk, and gave it to Katie after lunch when the teacher left the room. "You can eat this," I said. "Really? Thank you, Jason," Katie replied. Back then, I was an outcast with no friends in the same class, but after that incident, I started talking to Katie. When I got home that day, I told my mom about Katie's situation. "Mom, please, can you make a packed lunch for Katie?" My mom responded, "That poor child. If she can't eat lunch, it won't be good for her growth, and she probably can't concentrate on her studies when she's hungry. It's fine. I'm already making your dad's lunch every day, so adding one more portion won't make much difference." With that, she gladly agreed. The next day at lunch, I handed over the homemade lunch my mom had made. Katie's eyes widened in surprise. "My mom said to give this to you. Is this a packed lunch?" "Yeah, I told her about you, and she said to give it to you." "Really? Thank you, Jason." She hurriedly ate the lunch before the teacher returned. It turned out that Katie's house was in the same direction as mine, so from that day on, we decided to walk home together. While walking, Katie told me about her life. "My dad doesn't work, he spends all our money on slot machines and horse races. My mom earns the money, but my dad takes it all. Because of this, they were struggling and even in debt." Seeing her in the same tattered clothes every day, I felt sorry for her. Our classmates just watched her from a distance. Neither of us had friends. After that, we started meeting up in the morning and going to school together. Some classmates teased us, saying, "Are you two dating or something?" But we tried not to let it bother us. I had always been bad at talking to people, but for some reason, I felt at ease talking to Katie. I didn't realize it, but I was lonelier than I thought. Not having any friends, I was really happy to be able to talk to her. On our way to and from school, we talked about many things: our families, our favorite foods and animals, homework, and TV shows we watched the previous night. I found out she loves cats. She couldn't have one at her house, but enjoyed visiting the nearby park where stray cats often gather. "My family has a cat. Want to come over and see it?" "Really? Sure." When I brought her to my house after school that day, my mom warmly welcomed her. When our mixed breed cat showed up, Katie's eyes sparkled with delight. "How cute. What's its name?" "It's Mary. Mary, come here." Katie looked so happy cuddling the cat, playing with toys, and feeding it treats. Seeing her radiant smile, which she didn't show at school, made me happy too. In the blink of an eye, it was evening, and my mom prepared dinner for Katie as well. "Katie, can you give me your home phone number? I'll call your folks and let them know you're here." With that, my mom called her house. During the call, she seemed deeply engrossed in the conversation. After that day, Katie began having dinner at our house every night. Apparently, her mom often worked late, and her dad, who was at home, didn't do any housework. As a result, their dinner time was always late. With her parents' permission, my mom started looking after her meals. After school, Katie and I would do her homework and play with the cat until dinner. However, about a year into this routine, Katie had to move. Her parents divorced, and she decided to go with her mom to live with her maternal grandparents in Texas. Before they left, Katie and her mom came over to say goodbye. "I can't thank you enough for all that you've done for Katie. We'll never forget your kindness," her mother said, bowing to my mom. "Oh, please, it's okay. Please raise your head. We help each other out during tough times. Don't give it another thought," my mom replied. She was a person of strong principles and kindness, and I have tremendous respect for her. I can't recall the conversation I had with Katie that day, but I haven't seen her since. We exchanged Christmas cards every year, but that also ceased after 5 to 6 years. Then I graduated from college and started working at a precision machinery manufacturer. I was assigned to sales, and it's been 3 years now. Taking over clients from seniors and establishing new ones, I now handle numerous major accounts. "Good morning, Jason." My colleague Mike from the next desk greeted me. "Good morning. Tomorrow we've got a meeting with AB Electronics. It's a big deal that's vital for the company. You pumped and prepared?" "Yes, I'll have it ready for review later." As we talked, a secretary called out to Mike. "Mike, there's a call for you from AB Electronics." Picking up the phone, Mike's face turned pale rapidly. "What? How could this?" "Yes, I see. I'm terribly sorry. Right away, please can you give us one more chance? Wait, hold on. After hanging up, he just stared blankly, still holding the phone. What happened? I asked. Turning to me, he said, Jason, you gave the wrong time to AB Electronics for our meeting, didn't you? They thought the meeting was yesterday. They're furious that we stood them up. This deal is toast. It's your fault. What? But wasn't it you who communicated the schedule to them? What are you trying to pin this on me? I wanted to throw his words right back at him. To begin with, I hadn't communicated the schedule to the client at all. Mike had arranged the schedule and then informed me about it later. And yet he was trying to blame it on me. Mike reported the matter to his boss, and our supervisor Johnson went to apologize on his behalf. However, they wouldn't listen, and in the end, the deal with AB Electronics fell through. When Johnson returned, he said to me, Jason, what have you done? Because of you, the crucial deal we staked our company's future on has been ruined. How are you going to make this right? But sir, it wasn't me who informed them about the schedule. It was Mike. Enough. No excuses. You've caused harm to the company. Maybe you should consider resigning. That's something Johnson always says when he's angry. Wait, I really don't want to quit. Then bring in a contract worth the same amount as the machine we were going to sell to AB Electronics within 3 days, or you're fired. How could I possibly secure such a deal in just 3 days? I was at a loss for words after hearing Johnson's ultimatum, but then I remembered something. There was a client who was currently considering purchasing the same machine we were planning to sell to AB Electronics. They always tried to haggle the price down, constantly negotiating for discounts. I'd almost given up, thinking they had no intention of buying, but now I had to somehow close the deal with them. I quickly revised the quotation and set an appointment with the client. Upon arriving at their company, a man named Kevin assisted me. I've brought a new quotation today, I said, handing him the quote. Kevin scrutinized it. Can't you go a little lower? I really can't go any lower. We've adjusted the price several times already, I pleaded, putting on a distressed look. Please, Kevin. I'm sure our equipment will be very beneficial to your company. We'll even include regular maintenance. Kevin pondered, crossing his arms. I get what you're saying, but at this price, my superiors might not approve. I personally want to purchase it, but how about I explain the benefits directly to your boss, maybe over a meal or something? That might be difficult. My boss is pretty busy. I'm begging you, Kevin. Please just give me a chance to discuss it over dinner. I pleaded desperately. The machine sells for tens of thousands of dollars. For our company, the cost of a dinner would be insignificant compared to the sale. All right, but my boss is out right now. I'll get back to you another day. That's fine, thank you so much. Kevin saw me out of the conference room. Just then, the elevator opened and an older man entered the office. Supervisor, I wanted to see you. Do you have a moment? Seeing him, Kevin immediately approached. So this is Kevin's superior, I thought. Kevin explained the situation to the supervisor, but to my surprise, the supervisor began to shout angrily. Trying to win us over with a dinner? We've told you countless times if we can't afford it, we can't buy it. If you can't offer a better price, then just leave and don't come back. Did I do something so wrong to be yelled at like this? While I was still in shock, Kevin whispered to me as he nudged me towards the exit. I'm sorry, he is just in a bad mood today. He always lashes out like this when he's upset. It seems the supervisor is quite a difficult character. But without his approval, we won't be able to finalize the deal. If I don't land this contract, I'm going to lose my job. What should I do? As I was racking my brain, I heard the sound of heels clicking down the hallway. Wait, supervisor. I turned around to the sound of a young woman's voice. There stood a beautiful woman in a business suit. Watson, what's up? She quickly approached the puzzled-looking supervisor. I've reviewed the documents too, and I believe that equipment from that company would be valuable for us. Please consider purchasing it. She looked straight into the supervisor's eyes as she spoke. Well, if you say so, Watson. Kevin, move forward with the contract process right away. Supervisor then turned to me and said, That's what I was saying. I was absolutely gobsmacked for a moment. I had no idea what had just happened. So you're saying you'll make the purchase? Yes. Jason can't say no when the boss's daughter asks now, can we? Boss's daughter? As I looked at her, she smiled and said, Jason, long time no see. Don't you remember me? Even though she said that, I didn't recall knowing any Watson. But as I continued to gaze into her face, it felt somewhat familiar. Wait, who are you again? I asked. She spoke up again. Do you remember me as Katie? Katie. Oh, I realized she was talking about the same Katie I used to walk to and from school with and hang out with at my place during grade school. She had changed so much I didn't recognize her. Wow, it's been like 15 years, hasn't it? Yeah, so nostalgic. I saw your name on the business card attached to the documents and thought it might be you. Really? But Watson. Actually, my mom remarried when I was in high school, and I took on the name Watson. Wow, really? Hey Jason, instead of just standing here chatting, want to go out for a drink tonight? Sure, sounds good. Katie and I exchanged contact info and planned to meet for drinks after work. When I got back to the office and reported the good news, my supervisor was taken aback. You really got the contract? Yes, we haven't signed the papers yet, but we got the green light. Great job, Jason. Supervisor was thrilled. Looking over at my colleague, Mike, he seemed uneasy at his desk. After wrapping up work for the day and heading to the bar for our meetup, I found Katie already waiting. Thanks for today. You saved me. I didn't get fired because of you. What are you talking about? As I filled her in, she was sympathetic. It's terrible for a senior to put the blame on a junior like that, huh? Well, thanks to you, the deal went through, so I'm really grateful. Seriously, thanks. Upon hearing my gratitude, Katie shyly smiled. I'm honored I could help. To be honest, I've always been grateful to you for everything. We lost touch after I moved, but I'm glad we could reconnect like this. According to Katie's story, when she was in high school, her mother divorced and began dating the man who was then the manager of the office where she worked. They eventually got married. However, a few years later, Katie's stepfather's father, the CEO of the New York headquarters, retired, and Katie's stepfather had to take over his position. Their whole family moved to the city. You could have let me know when you moved back. Sorry, but weren't you the one who stopped replying to my New Year's cards first, Jason? Did I? Yes, so I thought maybe you found a girlfriend and I didn't want to intrude. Turns out I never did get a girlfriend. Really? No girlfriend? Nope, none. Well, maybe our meeting here is fate. If you're okay with it, would you like to date me? I was taken aback by her sudden confession and was rendered speechless for a moment, but it wasn't that I disliked the idea. I was actually really happy. Back in elementary school, being around her always made me happy, and whenever she laughed, I felt joy. I remembered that feeling. Of course, I'd love to. I extended my right hand to her, and she gently took it. Really? I'm so happy. This is how we started dating. 2 years later, I proposed, and we got married. Mary, dinner's ready, Katie called, and our cat responded with a soft meow. Seeing her play with our cat, she seemed just like old times. Katie had faced many challenges growing up, but from now on, I wanted to be by her side and make her happy.